So how do you walk the balance between the fact that you want the police to be there because the other side of that is anarchy, right?
Yeah.
Versus, and you want them to be strong. You don't want there to be any undermining of their credibility.
But
But you've got to keep them accountable.
it's hard. It is a very hard, slippery slope, because if you actually, if you worked at a fast food restaurant and you did some of the stuff that they did, you wouldn't have a job as a civilian on those jobs. Or if I worked at Walmart and someone asked to see inside of the counter, like, hey, I want to see something here, I need you to step back. Like, if you talk to people like that, you would have a job in the civilian world. So the authority and command, like I was taught, you're in charge, you're there. It has to be there. But when you do something stupid on or off duty, you have to be accountable. And it's a revolving door. I mean, yeah.
So what is the attitude been of those that you have challenged? So you've been involved in situations with government officials and police officers, and we've seen a lot of them on the internet and so forth.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of different responses. I mean, it's some of them are kind of comical, but it seemed like the normal response almost every single time from government official or the police is to double down.
Yep. And like Chip would put on his Facebook page, YouTube clown, and put my photo up there. So when I was in the back of the police department in South Daytona, I can't remember the sergeant's name, but he was there. He was talking. And as me investigating this 12-year-old being Snapchatted by another officer, he goes, "We're on your side, man. We are on your side."
The officer told you that?
The sergeant did, yeah. Sergeant and the other officer. So my sources, about 70 of them in Volusia County, are law enforcement. They come to me and know that they can remain confidential. I don't give out their information. I tell them to use, a fake email. That way I don't have any idea who it is. And they do come to me. So in Daytona Beach, there's one officer named Dominic Bess, and he threatened to arrest me the other day when I was waiting for a sergeant or a lieutenant. I was waiting for a lieutenant.
For what purpose?
Oh, the Halo law that came out. And he says, you need to go over there. And he got my face and said, I'm going to take you to jail. But thankfully, the lieutenant knew I was waiting for her, and she had to stop him from doing what he's doing. But he's arrested multiple people unlawfully. And I think he's in part of a lawsuit now where he went inside someone's home unlawfully. So he's just one of those cops that you got to watch.
So is there a percentage of people on the force, of any average force, that you say are good cops versus those who try to push the line?
It's hard to say, because when I found a good cop that was that I thought was a good cop, his name was Nick Gurachari, and me and on your oath Jeff Gray, he holds a sign that says "God bless the homeless vets." We went to Buc-ee's, and we were up there, and he said, "I'm gonna hold my sign over here." He came up, shook our hand, was real nice to us. But then I was on a call on just by mere accident, and he's threatening the kid that he's his new favorite target. So I don't know. It's so hard to tell. I was a police officer. I know I've ruined someone's life or career from an arrest that I did. Maybe I had probable cause, maybe I didn't. But I did the arrest and whatever happened. But I can't even answer that anymore, because I'm jaded with it, and I think that any one of them are nice to me, but they're not nice in the backside when it's someone else without a camera.
So the thin blue line, and we've talked about it, that there's a lot of law enforcement. They understand that there's things that you don't cross this line. You don't tell the truth about what's going on with law enforcement. You could be called a rat. You could be blackballed. How do you get over that? I know there's a lot of officers who know what's happening in some of these situations are wrong, but there is that line that they don't want to cross.
They come to me, and then I can be their voice without having to have their face attached to it. But I have to be very careful, because on body cameras, they have Axon video recall, which goes back 18 hours. So if they're texting me, the agencies can look back and see if they were texting me for 18 hours. So you gotta, it's a faceless person that comes to me, and then I share their story.
So what would you say to the officers who are in situations like that, who may be listening to this broadcast? What would you say to them?
Coming forward to anything, to any of your agency heads or your city government, is going to end your career. If it ends up to where you have an egregious violation, it's going to eventually end your career. And that's the way it is. The best way to do it is anonymously somehow, and to do it through what I get is Proton emails. Just be careful. Don't access their systems, because everything is tracked. So if you know of something, tell someone that can be your voice and say, hey, on this date and time, I remember this. You might have to look for it, but as soon as you log into like their Central Square or any one of their systems, it'll show the metadata that you were logged in. And then, oh, that must have been Officer Smith that sent that out because he's the only other person that wasn't on that call.
Do you think that compensates for them not openly saying something?
I think it compromises the integrity of everybody at that agency if they're afraid to come forward with something. It really does. It compromises the ability for law enforcement to, I would have to say, just be an honest law enforcement agency. Because if they put the fear in the officers and they can't come forward to someone to specifically their own admin, then, I mean, the whole thing is just a rotten apple.
So what have you seen as you've been out and you've been doing the audits? What has been the response of the people to the audits? I mean, we've talked about the officers and the government officials,
Right.
but what has been the response of other people as they've listened to your show and they've watched your show?
So I get a mix of different things. You know, I'm very colorful in language, but it only comes after you say something to me like, I'm on a sidewalk and you can't be here. You can't tell me what to have to do. Go F yourself. I flat out do it like that. And that is my challenge to the First Amendment, right? If he's going to come arrest me for saying the F word or something like that, already I'm getting violated for that. So the people that watch that, there's a mix. Some of them are like, you told that cop what to do, man, I am subscriber for life. And then some of them are just like, you know, you should be nice. You should be nicer. And then some of them call me or text me on the phone and say, I know where you live and I'm going to find you.
Really?
Oh, yeah, you get threats.
How many?
I think over the past 4 or 5 years, I got like 7. 7, I mean, they all get Google Voice numbers, so you can't tell if they're really here, but the area code shows in the same area.
Do you think there's people within the department who's threatening you?
Yeah, they're 100%. I have an audio recording of an officer that one of my sources that's sitting next to an officer. They're talking, and they're saying specifically, if I find him, I'm going to take him out. I'm going to find a reason to arrest him if he comes up on my calls. And he gave it to me, but I can't use it because it will burn his because you can hear the audio. You better burn everything with him, and he'll be
So
ratted out.
is it that the officers know that the public trusts them
Mm-hmm.
and that they're betraying this trust?
You know, I hate to go back to a silly thing like Spider-Man and what he said there. With great power comes great responsibility, but that little phrase is what it is. I mean, the officers that trust you as the citizen to be out there and protect them and say, but they don't see it like that. They don't see, oh, this guy pays my salary. They don't see that this is a resident that has a business and a home here. I got to be nice. They go out there and put the hammer down. So, I really wish I could say that there was something in their mind that causes it to be like that. And not every single officer's like this. Mm-hmm. But I just wish I could figure that out other than power and control. That's all I can think of.
Have you found any officers that actually understand the Constitution and have a respect for the citizens' constitutional rights?
There are. And one of the ones that I remember seeing, and it was on a video, and the officer and another officer were there, and they said, hey, man, no, you can't do that. We don't have enough to get there. And it had to do due to a search of a vehicle, I think it was. And they said, no, we're not holding him. Give him his license back. You can ask him if he wants to search the car. If he doesn't, then you gotta let him go because we're not holding him for a canine. So I think it was a situation like that.
So does that happen often?
There's a few. Yeah. There's some sergeants out there that are supporters of mine. And they control their, the officers that are under them with that. And they've done it right in front of me. Hey, no, leave him alone. He can film here. He can be here. So there's a few of them that do that. But again, this one officer that I thought was the best officer, he stood up for me 3 times filming. And they're like, hey, you need to get back. And he's like, hey, nope, he's good here. He can be anywhere. Put up crime scene if you want it. They were shining lights in my face when I was recording one time. But then he just got popped for watching the P word on duty. And then he has, from what I was told, there's a lot of other stuff in there. And I thought he was a good guy.
When people are pulled over by the police, based upon what you've seen, what would you say to them? Say if they're driving, and then secondly, what happens if they come to your home?
So number one, it's $100 for a dash cam. Front and rear, you can get a dash cam. You will buy one after watching this. Please do. It will exonerate you from the allegations of traffic infractions, which will cause your insurance to go crazy. It's one of the best investments you could have. But when an officer comes up to your car, hey, I'm Officer Smith with the South Daytona Police Department. Reason why I'm stopping you today is this. And if they don't do that, you know that officer's not following their policy in general. They're not introducing themselves. But to be able to protect yourselves during those situations is to record. Turn your phone on. You can turn it upside down. You can hide it. You don't have to tell them you're recording. Just record every single thing that you can when it comes to government. Because when they're recording, and it's harder to get theirs than it is to get yours.
So would you say that it's probably a good thing for people to get body cameras for their own?
No, not at all. I don't think so. No. And if you look at the way I have mine set up, and I'll show you on my phone right here, I've got this right here. I push this button, hold it, it brings it up, and it starts recording. 2 pushes, and my phone is recording. Your phones are just one of the first lines of defense against any false allegations when it comes down to being in law enforcement. Same thing at your house. If you see law enforcement at your house, never open the door. You do not need to talk to them. You can always call them and say, hey, is there something wrong? I see there's officers at my house here. Well, they just need to talk to you. Well, I don't have anything to say to you, and that is it. Now, they may tell you on the phone, yeah, we're here for a well-being check because someone called something in. Well, everything's good. Have a nice day. You do not have to let law enforcement in your house, but as soon as you open that door, you open the door, and that is it.
So what do you say to well-meaning citizens? Most citizens, as you think about it, Mark, they feel like, okay, I'm not guilty of anything.
Absolutely.
I've not done anything. I don't have anything to hide.
Not going to chastise you. Yeah.
Right. So tell me about the danger of that mindset.
Well, I'm not going to chastise you because you can support law enforcement. I don't support law enforcement. I pay them to do a job, but I don't give that extra thanks to them. They're there to do it. They get paid well in our area. And for those citizens that believe that they're not innocent, not guilty, as soon as you get one of those charges or something, even a code enforcement violation, because they have multi-pronged fingers and arms that come after you, right? And neighbors are the most vindictive. I would say no matter if you support them and believe them, just turn your phone on. You don't have to tell it. Put it in your phone, put it in your pocket, and just do that to protect yourself. If it was nothing, delete it later.
So is this a matter of what Reagan said about the Soviet Union, trust but verify?
I think so. Trust but verify, and verify hard with our law enforcement. Because nowadays, and this is going into a lot of people, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but the KGB and all that would love to have what we have today. Tag readers, cameras everywhere, phone tracking, GPS on your phone, phase 1 locations, phase 2 locations, which mean if you put the number in at dispatch, they can find out where you are without a warrant.
So the American citizens don't realize, do they, how much they are being surveilled?
Yeah, but if you don't have anything to worry about, you don't have to. You're not guilty.
But it doesn't come down to that. I mean, you found out that the officer in Palm Bay who ended up in that situation with the pregnant woman.
Yeah,
that started because he read her plates on the flock camera.
Yep.
And then look at the result of it.
And I don't know what the result is.
In Palm Bay, the Palm Bay was there was someone who actually owned a car who had a suspended license. Yep. So he comes in after the car.
Yeah.
So it's after the car. He's not coming after the driver. He's coming after the car.
Yep.
And that ends up with her trying to work this situation out. They break her windows. She takes off. She goes into the house. The cop goes in and floors her. And it's
this is Miss Tamara? This is where her son was arrested as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. But that started with a flock camera.
Yes, absolutely. So what they're supposed to do per policy with these flock cameras, they're supposed to, if they get a hit on the reader, because they can put anything on there, expired tag or suspended license, anything in there that they want to put you on that list for to have you on the flock reader, they can put in there. And it rings. And bling! Site 3. This vehicle is located over here. All right, everybody knows where Site 3 is. They start converging on that location to get it. But they are supposed to, if they get those suspended license, pull up and see if the person matches the description, like if it's a male registered owner or a female registered owner, white or black, pull up next to the car, no, that ain't them, and not stop them. That's what they're supposed to do.
So same thing with the school zone cameras. 24 states have banned those school zone cameras. Most people are saying Georgia tried to ban it. They fell just short of it last year. Most people believe it's a money grab. It's just the police departments around the country are just trying to get more money. And Lance Fisher, who's on our show here, has acknowledged that.
Yeah, back when I was working, we used to have a general fund, and they would tell us, go out and write tickets, get that. If you want a radar, a laser, go out there and write tickets. And the city got 40% of the citation. Now they only do like $5 or $10. The traffic ones, I did a video after a little girl was killed at Sugar Mill Gardens. And when this girl was killed, she was killed on her bike, and the woman allegedly ran the stop sign, and they had it on video. And again, they wouldn't release the video to us. But when this little girl was killed, they were out there all the time, right? And they hide and they don't turn their lights on. They don't do this. And I confronted the chief about it and said, why don't you put the lights on when you're in the school zone? That gives an extra bit of warning to those motorists that are not paying attention, because I'm late for work. I hurry. I'm not here. You don't see an orange flashing light.
Correct.
And he says, Mark, if we did that, then we can't catch the violators. That was 101 policing for profit. That's it.
So would it be cynical to say that it seems like that law enforcement has been weaponized against the American people?
We're trained in the academy that the people are the enemy. You go home safe, do what you have to do to make it home to your family, and we'll figure out the rest later. But they ingrain in you that, people are out there to get you.
All people?
They say you don't know who it's going to be.
So you don't know who it's going to be, so everyone is a criminal.
I mean, you have to default to that, right?
Right.
So they even when we were going through our drug interdiction stuff, they have a book in here, and they show pictures of a 1984 Ford with a plywood in the back, and Grandpa Sam or Samuel's driving this car, and they're like, this guy had 350 pounds of cocaine in his car coming from Miami. So that's where they start ingraining that in you. You don't know who is going to get you. You don't know who's out to get you. Always have your guard up, and when it comes down to it, make sure you're safe.
But is that a legitimate way of training officers?
It makes you paranoid for the mindset.
So then you can understand why the mindset is the way that it is, right?
And that's why I went through psychology. Yeah, I went through that to find out why, and it's basically it. You're trained. I don't know if it's a war against it, but they are getting everything you can think of. They're wearing tactical gear, tactical vests, so they look like they're out there for war. But that's what they are issued, and that's what they're given, and it's
so the police commander in Norway said that they taught a lot of psychological and sociological, had a lot of those classes in order to teach the officers how to understand the kind of people, the variation of people that you're going to be dealing with.
Right.
And then they had a hierarchy of de-escalation up to escalation on an inverted pyramid. Does that make sense? Yeah,
it's kind of mirrors like what the use of force is, and your presence is a trigger. That's a word that's been around now for about a year or so. Triggering and triggered. I'm triggered. But your mere presence.
Everybody's triggered.
Yeah, everybody's triggered. But your mere presence as an officer is the bottom of the use of force, and then it turns into verbal. Verbal. Hey, I need you to come here. I need to stop. Do this. Do that. So everything in that pyramid, all the way up to deadly force, up to the top right there. That's kind of all officers are working on. But you hear the attitudes in them, and then it inflates the situation. And I've seen situations just like when I interviewed the former deputy chief. I said, we know how to talk to people. He went to academy the same year I did. Mm-hmm. And remember verbal judo? Yes, verbal judo was the way to talk to people. You're upset. You're like, I'm not going to sit here and talk to you. Hey, I understand. I just have to get out of here really quick. I just have to document some stuff. I don't want to be in your hair. I want to go home. I was over here, sitting in the place over here watching the football game or something like that at the school. But I'm here now. I'll only be here for like 5 or 10 minutes. Rather than, no, you're going to talk to me, and you're going to talk to me now. And if you don't, I'm going to take you to jail.
So where does that attitude come from? Is it a confidence that I can do whatever I want to because I have the badge on?
There's a mix of confidence, and there's a mix of that authority and control that they perceive that they have to have. And then in addition to it, you're seeing people that are trained that way. They're trained. Get back. Do it now. It's a training. Everything's training.
And that training is based upon your perception of the people.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I without knowing what these guys are thinking in their head, and I've been out of it for so long, I mean, that's the only thing you think of is you're told that you're in control, you control the scene, you control everything. That's what they tell you to do.
So where are audits going? What do you think is going to be the result of it? Like, you're just seeing it. There's this exploding, right? So there's audits everywhere, which looks like a good thing, right?
Yeah.
So that it's really providing some semblance of accountability for government and for law enforcement. Do you see that will continue? Do you think that it will have an effect on how law enforcement and government will respond?
Yeah, yeah. You have to do the checks and balances. You have to do that, but it takes a special kind of person that says, "Oh, I'm gonna pull the camera out and actually do this," because there's an inherent risk with it. There is the potential for you to get back and go to jail, and you say the wrong thing. If you don't get back, then he takes you to jail, and then you're going to jail and having to pay $500, $1,000 for a bond, and then fight the court case with a $2,000 attorney. But the audits, the people that do have this usually have something that occurred in their life, right? They either were violated like me, which still took 4 years because I had a lot of friends in law enforcement, but I did step over that blue line and say, I'm not putting up with this anymore. And then found out if you have views and you have the people watching, you have the people that are learning from it, you can make a lot of money on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and all that. So that risk and that reward is always there. Risk is that you're going to probably go to jail. The reward is that you are making money on there. And I haven't looked at the analytics, but a lot of the top ones are making almost $1 million.
Do you think that what would you say to the auditors?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do you think that most of them are doing it the right way? Would you not do it the way that some of them are doing it? Would you do it more so or not?
I'm not here to judge anybody's freedom of expression or speech. And as long as what they're doing, if they don't have a conviction of it and that conviction causes case law or precedence, then they're doing it the right way. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because if they get arrested and said, hey, I said the F word, and then they don't fight it, and now there's precedent that says you can't say the F word from a sidewalk, which the Supreme Court covers that. But if they did that and they didn't fight it, or if they did that and get a conviction, then they did it the wrong way. And that affects everybody.
So how much longer do you think you're going to do this? You're going to retire doing this as an auditor?
With the amount of messages I come in, I just saw a big shift in the gender. This past month, after I did a story about a state attorney that was over in Orlando that was communicating with women and doing it through his job from victims or witnesses of crimes, and he started to do it over here. He resigned from his job. I had an influx of females coming in. And that's great because this is an adrenaline rushed video set up, you're arguing with cops. But a lot of them were saying, hey, my dog was shot by these guys. They were at the wrong house. Or, my brother, he's autistic and he had his pelvis broken and we don't know where to turn to. So a lot of females are seeing this and seeing the passion that's there and also knowing that they've been either victimized or had a bad experience with a law enforcement officer.
So you won't run out of opportunities anytime soon.
I do a couple different channels, but on YouTube, but I don't think so. I mean, it's so easy to be able to help people and document what's going on in the wrong. And we do highlight some good, but when it comes down to good, that's what they're supposed to do.
You say you highlight some good. What do you mean when you say that?
Well, we had we had 3 officers in Port Orange that helped a guy. The bottle jack fell off of his car, and I was right there on scene and lifted up. I got the body camera. We had one that one of the officers saved. I think he saved a girl from a ditch and was pulling the girl out while the car was, just partially submerged. So certain things like that. But that's what they're paid to do. They're paid to do the right thing. And just like they always say, all shit will ruin all the good attaboys. And that's what I feel.
I'm surprised on our site by the amount of mistrust of the police. I mean,
your viewers?
Yes. I'm just absolutely blown away by it.
Yeah.
I mean, from the attitude that all officers lie. I've not seen one that doesn't lie. I mean, there's just a huge distrust of the police. Does that surprise you?
No, because the little. And it's not an idiom, but back the blue until it happens to you. And there's a lot more of that happening. There's a lot more of the back the blue until it happens to you because we see it in just some of the silliest things. One of my friends has a $30,000 fine or lien against her house for putting up a fence that was made out of old vintage doors, and they're trying to take her house. So there's you see this stuff, and as I mentioned before, how many prongs these agencies have.
Should code enforcement be separate from the police department?
It doesn't matter if they are or not. You're going to see the same effect. You know what I'm saying?
But you have the force of the authority of the police department that is enforcing the codes.
Yeah.
Which makes a huge difference, doesn't it?
Well, they did. When we started the code enforcement, it was because the officers got tired of doing post and tows on vehicles for their cars. So we would go see a car that has an expired tag and go post it, and then 10 days later tow it, which turned out to be illegal anyway. You can't do that. You're not supposed to, but our city was making us do it. Court case came down about it. So they started a code enforcement, that hasn't always been around. Code enforcement has. Because the officer was like, hey, why am I going over here messing with tall grass? I'm a cop. I'm supposed to enforce laws. And I think that's no matter what you do, you can say it's separate. You can put it 10,000 feet away from whatever agency you're looking at, but it's still going to come down to the same thing, that the government is coming after you for something.
And that's a problem, and you see it quite a bit. And do you think that, just to wrap this up, do you think that the people will ever wake up to see their constitutional rights? The framers of the Constitution put all of the power in the hands of the people.
Yeah.
All of it. But the people do not recognize it. It's just one of the most bizarre things. And they've allowed the people that they put in office to lord it over them. And it's just kind of shocking.
It's such a weird thing that they can say that they do no wrong. Like the message I got says, leave them alone. Well, why? Why do you want me to leave them alone? I'm investigating a 12-year-old girl that they're blowing off that's getting Snapchatted. What do you want? How do you want to do this? It's scary. It's a slippery slope. But about maybe a year ago, a man got arrested, and he was only trying to file a complaint, but he recorded the phone call with the sergeant.
Mm-hmm.
He recorded it, and they arrested him. Now there's case law, Wait versus State, that says you were legally allowed to do that.
Correct.
They did it here in Titusville.
Correct.
With the armed fisherman guy. They arrested him for it, when COVID was around. So when you have these instances going and people are like, they shouldn't have done that. Or if there's a cop that's doing street justice and beating a guy up, a child molester, get him, beat him. He needs to, be hurt for what he does. You're chipping away at those constitutional rights for the law enforcement, no matter what you think about it, because the unlawful search and seizures will happen after that. You'll have your rights violated. They'll handcuff you and detain you without any cause, just because the people support the street justice of the cops.
In summation, your view would be you hire the police to do a job, and they do their job, and they're not to be lauded for doing what they are hired to do.
Yeah.
Correct.
Correct. Yeah. And one of the things that would stop a lot of this is to be self-insured. It's not taking away your qualified immunity. You know what qualified immunity is?
Correct.
Okay. Well, if the cop has qualified immunity,
explain for the people who don't know it.
Yeah. So qualified immunity means that the officers have their ability to do their job, and if they make mistakes, and if they do slight mistakes and mess up, violate your rights, or do an unlawful arrest, they are immune from civil liability. But that gives them a shield to let them do nearly anything they want, because then they just keep doing, I made a mistake, because every case is different. But if these officers are required, like doctors and other medical professionals, to carry their own insurance, and every time that they have a claim or every time they have a point taken away from it, their premiums go up. Because when you hit the pocket of anybody, it stops them from what they're doing. It's legal for a fee. Speeding, legal for a fee. But if you get a $200 ticket, better not speed here. Same thing applies with law enforcement that have this. If they get rid of the qualified immunity and put it to an insurance-based individual program, well, maybe the agency does supplement it and pay for it. However, you got to have something that says these cops are doing wrong, but they keep getting away from it, and that would be one way to have it. But if they don't do the reporting,
well, you see it with
nothing happens.
We've seen it here in Titusville with some of the officers that we've actually said that they are actually personally liable for ushering people out whom the overlords tell them to take out of the city council meeting or whatever. And so these officers actually are personally responsible for this, are they not?
No.
So you say that with qualified immunity does not cover that, is it?
I think it would. Why wouldn't it? Because they're there providing a service for the agency, and they have these rules of decorum that these officers have no idea what the rules of decorum are for there. And if the mayor says he needs to go, you'll see him come up, hey, you need to come with me. And McDonough down in South Florida just had that. And he won the case against it because they were escorting him out. So they beat him. He didn't pierce the qualified immunity on it, though.
So I just think it's a tough go on it.
Yeah, qualified immunity is like hard to beat. It's hard to get through it. They have to be doing something egregious like, oh, there's a bat right here. I don't like what you're saying, and then hit you with it. I mean, it has to be that egregious. And even where a man was arrested out in front of his house with a firearm on him, the attorney that I work with, he said the F word, so I don't think I can get through qualified immunity on that, because the officer could believe that is disorderly conduct.
So they're thinking through this in terms of their behavior.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. I know some of them just do it repeatedly. So,
Mark Dickinson from James Madison Audits, and I hope that you've enjoyed it. We've talked about a lot of good stuff and a lot of things that you really need to know as a citizen. And I hope that you, from this interview, really be able to reevaluate how you order your life, and that you would have a great knowledge of the Constitution and how to protect yourself against those who mean you harm. Thank you for joining us on this edition of Brevard News Meets, and we'll see you next time. My name is Kevin Jeffrey, signing off for Mark Dickinson. Thank you for joining us.